Okay, let's pause for now. All right, ladies and gentlemen, we are back, and today we will be covering a couple of questions. And as per schedule, we are rolling along with our schedule. So today we will talk about what was it, Samir? What was
What would you do if you, I guess, don't match? And if you didn't do medicine, what else do you see yourself doing?
Okay. And what was the third question we were going to throw in there?
I think generally you wrote atypical questions. So I guess any outside of those two.
Right. So we will add. This is going to be for folks who are in their second match or third possibly. That's not a problem. A lot of people end up being in the second match and they do really well. Third match they do really well. So the question would be, why didn't you match last time around? So so people can be introspective and don't really blame other people, and they look at their own self and say, okay, yeah, we had to improve a few things. So these three questions I think we will look to cover. And Zoom is working, it's working. All right. Double checking. All right. So solves the problem. All right, so let's say, for example, the interviewer asks, so, we do have a lot of candidates who, you know, are coming around for their second match, but in the event you seem to be a decent candidate, but in the event you don't match this time around, what's your plan then? What would you do if that does happen? What would you end up doing, right? So let's give it a try. So So good. Well, that is a good question and something that we should always think about. However, of course, I am in here fully, and I'm hoping that I will be matching on my first attempt. But if not, if I don't match, I will surely treat this as a quality improvement cycle. And I would not consider it a failure because I know that I am determined and I'm capable. First, I will, of course, participate in the SOAP thoroughly for internal medicine that I'm applying into. I would look to see any spots that are unfilled, and I would look to definitely try out some preliminary spots, such as for internal medicine and for preliminary surgery, or possibly even translational ears. However, down the line, uh, in parallel, I will look to obtain feedback from programs and my mentors to identify any of the gaps that I have. And subsequently, over the next coming months, I would like to stay clinically active. I would look to go for observerships, apply for hospital assistant programs, and I would like to, of course, also complete my step three that has been pending. And I would also look to get involved in research and try to expand and improve upon my CV. I think all of that will further strengthen my application. I would also look deep down and see if I had any deficiencies in my interview skills. So I think that is something I will, of course, look at to see if that is the reason why I could not match. Then, of course, I would be possibly research more and look to target programs in much more detail and probably um, identify programs that actually match my profile and my preferences for geography. So, keeping all of this in mind, I will look to keep my patient care skills fresh, especially with US clinical experience. And I would love to, I would be, of course, looking to bring myself up as a much stronger candidate, if need be, in the next coming cycle. Again, I will not treat a bad result in this current match as a failure. I would just use it as a quality improvement cycle. And yes, I will be a stronger and a even more confident candidate next year. All right, so it's an impromptu answer. All right. So what was the theme behind it? What was the theme behind the answer? Can you
Um,
please?
Learning and growing, I would say that's the central theme, like identifying your weak points and then just gaining more experience, uh, clinical experience, research experience, whatever you think will make you a stronger applicant for next year.
Right. Okay. Anybody else?
Maybe it implies a kind of your resilience, and because this is one way of showing your resilience as this journey is a little bit tiresome, and if you fail in this journey, what would be your response? So indirect way of assessing your resilience, maybe the theme behind this question.
So I couldn't fully understand, Wendy. Can you repeat that?
So this is normally a tiresome journey. They know it, and if this my reaction for this journey would be an indirect way of assessing my resilience in the journey. So I would say, in a way, to show my resilience, like that, I will be pushing forward until I match. And it's also like indirect way of assessing our interest in this department. For example, if I say I have like backup programs applied, maybe I'm going to join that, or like as you mentioned, maybe transitional year or preliminary, and mentioning other department would uh, affect my like my showing my interest to that program. So I will keep comprehending my uh, points towards the interest to this program. So it's maybe indirect way of showing my dedication, resilience, and interest to that program. So I would prefer not to mention applying to other geographic locations or other programs, and or showing my weakness. Like I will do more clinical experience or more. That means I'm not well prepared at this moment. So I wouldn't say that. I would rather say I will just generic. Like I'll do all my best. I will check my weakness from experts or probably senior residents, or maybe from the programs, but I wouldn't I wouldn't say like I wouldn't show my weakness point and other alternative programs that I'm looking for, or and even like mentioning my geographic preference is not their program. Maybe it's a indirect way of showing my weakness, or any like that. So
All right, that's a
that
thought. You definitely show your resilience and dedication, and the goal should always be to suggest that you will look to be an even stronger candidate. Not that you're weak right now, but you will be an even stronger candidate. So yeah, I think yes. Anybody wants to give it a try?
I think it will be an indirect way of asking how will you handle a failure.
That is possibly correct too. Yes, yes, yes. I mean, it could be anything. This is just practice so that we have an idea about how to think about these type of questions. Yes, definitely yes. Anybody wants to give it a try?
can I say my answer
Oh,
directly?
sure. So, let's. Well, you do seem like a strong candidate, but in the event that you don't match this time around, what's going to be your game plan? What are you going to do?
Thank you for asking. In this application season, I tried all my best. I did research for the programs that align my career goal, and I take this journey as a career journey. So it's a long way process. I tried all my best, but if it's not happening too much, so it's the way I pass through. It's one way of passing through a journey that I already passed a lot of struggles in my life. So I will take it as a kind of journey. So I will take feedback from those who matched in this cycle, and from those who are experts, and maybe I will look for mentorship who can guide me to the point that I will get into matching in this program. So I'll be more focused on my next application. That's my point. Thank you.
Okay, so yes, just be positive about it and have a thought about what you would do, what you would want to do. Okay. Anyone else?
Can I try?
Sure.
Um, So if first of all, I will give my best in this cycle to get match, and I hope that I will get my match in this cycle. But if unfortunately I couldn't get matched, then in that case, I will not take it as a failure, um, because great outcomes and bad outcomes can happen at any time. So taking it as a part of quality improvement cycle, I will definitely take feedback from my mentors, from my seniors. I will work on my application regarding my step 3, which was due. I will also try to look for the research opportunities that will be available, and I will try to gain more clinical US experience and stay up to date to medicine. So that is what, plus I will, if I go unmatched, I will apply in SOAP and preliminary positions or any positions that are unfilled if I don't get matched in cycle.
All right. Okay, so positive statements and a plan in mind. Okay. Anybody, last person to go for this question? Well, let's deal with this. Let's ask this question. So how do you deal with failure? Have you had any failures in your life? How do you deal with it? Or how would you look to deal with failures in your life? Anybody wants to give it a try?
Yeah, can I?
Sure.
At any part in our life, we can face the failure. Failure is a failure till the time you considered it as. It is, in fact, an opportunity for you to improve and work on the skills that you haven't developed in you, or you have to work on the new learning process. You have to go on through a new cycle of improvement. And once you go through it, the outcomes are really great. I have an example in my mind. So after my, if you allow me, can I say it?
So that's up to you.
Yeah, yeah. Okay. Okay. So after my inter, after my high school, while I was preparing for MCAT, I thought that because I scored really good in my high school. So I thought that there's no need for an extra preparation for my MCAT, and because I have a strong grip over my courses, so um, I can I mean, ache it. But when the result came out, it was showing out of 1100, I got 553 marks because I didn't get any coaching. Um, in next cycle, when I worked on my weakness, I take my coaching classes. Then I got a 984 score out of 1100, and I qualified for government hospital, which is fully sponsored. So if you work, that's an example for me that if you work on your weakness, if you know what you missed last time, then you can definitely improve.
So some positive, basically having a mindset of positivity. Okay. Anybody else? Same thing. How you deal with setbacks, how you deal with failures. Anybody wants to give it a try?
Yeah.
Okay.
Okay. So for me, failure are like the opportunity to improve myself. These are like stepping stones towards my success journey. I don't see them as a point where I should give up. I think I will deal with failure as something to reflect on myself, to improve myself, to get a chance to learn and grow. Particularly, there is one example that comes into my mind that helped me grow throughout my journey. I was not familiar with one of the examination pattern that's called um, objective something structured practical exam, objective structured practical exam. And I tried, when I was doing the exam for the first time, I failed in that exam because it was a rapid fire and you have to remain calm and work on your nerves to really think and answer the question. But I panicked and I failed the exam. But that provided me with the opportunity to look at myself to see why I did what I did. I know the answers, but it was all because I was not prepared well. So I think that provided me with the opportunity to really be calm and work on my nerves and apply my knowledge in a calm, composed manner. So yeah, I think they provide us the opportunity to learn if you are willing to see your weak points and you're receptive towards feedback.
Okay. So I think one or two points that I would probably mention here would be one is that if you are mentioning this exam, you should give some context. Where was this exam, or what was it related to? Was it in medical school? Was it before medical school? Was it for, England, whatever? So it's probably good to clarify, or because that the interviewer would not know, okay, it could be something. So what was it about? Where was this?
So it's auspice stations. It's a medical, obviously, first year medical school. So I just look it up. Like I don't know the abbreviation. So it's like objective structured practical exam. So it's like you have it's usually in anatomy. They have all the things, bones and stuff, and you have
Okay,
to.
yeah, I remember. Oh, that
Yeah,
was 25 years
yeah,
ago.
right.
Um, so yeah, so just give context to it,
Mm-hmm.
and that's one. Second, I would rather say it is as that again. I think the same sort of situation that Hafsa had, that I felt overconfident and did not really prepare for it, and that led to me not doing well in that exam. But I realized my mistake that I should have taken that very seriously. I
Mm-hmm.
would necessarily not say that I panicked.
Okay.
Really not say that. That may
Mm-hmm.
give a sort of a wrong impression.
Mm-hmm.
I would keep it relatively positive.
Right.
That
Okay.
I learned my mistake. That I should have treated it with the due respect that it deserved. And I should, yeah, from then on, I've regarded every single hurdle or step in life to be something that I would put my full foot forward. And that's an early lesson in life that I got, and I have learned from it, and
Mm-hmm.
continuing to roll on with positivity.
Right.
Something.
Right.
Okay.
I'll do better.
Right. Anybody else?
Can I give it a try?
Sure.
Thank you. So I would say failure is a stepping stone for in my career. Even it's the reason for me to be here today in my MPH study in John Hopkins. I remember the moment which sparked this journey. It was in final year medical school, and I had to publish one very important topic, especially for the communities that I were born and grew up. So I tried all my best to publish and contribute to the community. It was in a final year, a relatively tough time, but I failed to get mentorship from my professors, and I think I lack some kind of basic understanding for research, and I failed to publish that research, and I was regretting considering the impact it would have on the communities that facing from that disease process. And there I decided to work on my basic research experience and decided to pursue MPH. And now I am in this MPH program, mainly focusing on clinical epidemiology and research. So this kind of opportunity, so failure for me is a kind of opportunity which would bring me to the point that I wanted to set. So I would say failure is a good opportunity to learn.
Okay, I think my feedback would be, I think you mentioned a few times um, about this in your final year. Just keep it to once or twice maximum, just to home it in, not to repeat it, um, and just concise the answer. Concise the answer up a little bit more. It may help it flow a little better in sequence.
Okay.
Okay. All right. And yeah, just also just be slow in your speech. That's okay. Just make it sound really, really proper whenever you're speaking. Open up the mouth. I think that's a common problem that everyone has. Just open up your mouth a little bit more and take time to verbalize. I think that should help everyone. All right. Anybody else? What if, how do you deal with failure? How do you deal with, do you have any regrets in your life? Let's talk about that. Do you have any regrets in your life? How do you deal with regrets? Again, how would you approach it? Well, there are always reasons to regret, sometimes major, sometimes minor. However, if I felt that I had put the best foot forward and I had given it an effort, and if it did not happen the way I wanted to, okay, so maybe that's something for me to learn from instead of regretting about it, and how to make sure that that does not happen again, possibly. However, I would probably not dwell into it too much. I would look to move on, and whatever doesn't kill you makes you stronger, right? So we'll continue to progress, and that has been the theme of my life. That keep on kicking, keep on moving, trying something new, and planning it accordingly. And if there is a setback, then that's fine. You can take that as a learning opportunity. However, you plan adequately so you don't have as many setbacks as you would otherwise. So, okay, so how would you handle regrets?
Can
Do
I
you have
give it
any
a try?
regrets? Sorry, yes, you can go.
Yes, so regrets, I guess they're a part of life, and we all have them at some point, but I try not to dwell on them. I would say one of my regrets was not seeking more mentorship during medical school. I think I should have spoken to seniors more about like future career prospects because that wasn't something I was too well aware of. I think I took that too lightly, um, particularly when it comes to like preparing for the STEP exams and just pursuing a residency in the US. So, looking back, I think that's something I should have done. But I've learned from it as well. And now, whenever I'm trying to plan for the future, I try to speak to more people about it, people who've been through it and have more experience to just gain a better understanding of what I'm getting myself into.
All right, so it's anything positive. That's good. Anybody else just wants to give this a try? Regrets or failure, or some of the new folks who joined, if you want to talk about what would you do if you don't match this year? Anyone new?
Oh, oh,
You already did that, I think.
sorry.
I think you did that, right? This first question, possibly.
What else would I do if I did?
No, if you don't match that question. Anyone else, or we'll move on? Okay. All right. So, all right. So this next we will touch on, and this is probably for candidates Of course, for candidates who may be a second cycle or third cycle, perhaps, right? So why didn't you match the last time around? Okay, so the way you will look to approach this is you would, of course, look to provide relatively honest answers and give one or two possible examples. You will never say, okay, I was, or unless you already have a really good CV, you, it depends on the person. If you were a stellar candidate, you still did not match. I mean, there must be something that you did wrong, right? And so I think you should always mention a particular aspect that you worked on, and that you feel now is that you have worked to overcome that issue at least. Or you could also say if you were a good candidate that you had a few interviews at that I think my interview wasn't that great. Interviews weren't that great. Did not prepare well for the interviews. Or let's say, for example, you are a stellar candidate and your interviews were fine, everything was good. You still did not match. I think I may have messed up in my rank order list, perhaps. I did not process that properly. And I had selected programs that I should not have selected, perhaps. Um, or I forgot to list all of my programs. I said I just want these limited programs. So on a rare occasion, it could be that you had everything good, you still did not match. I mean, that happens. You could say, I did have a pretty reasonable CV last time around. I had significant clinical experiences. Um, I have, as before, I mean, I've had significantly good scores, and I think I did well in my interviews. Um, I have tried to see what was the main reason. However, I couldn't fully pinpoint it, but nonetheless, I've looked to further strengthen my application and CV and bring myself up as an even stronger candidate this year. And I'm positive that things are going well, and I look to definitely match this time around. And actually, a lot of candidates may not end up matching the first time around, and they do pretty well in their second match. Possibly they are an even better candidate. Maybe the Ducks didn't get in line for myself last year, but I'm confident that I will be getting a much better positive result this year. Of course, if that is a candidate and the interviewer also knows, yeah, this is a strong candidate, he is doing well in the interview, he has good scores, he has good experience, he has research, etc., whatever. So that would be a true answer for that individual. However, let's just talk about if there are certain deficiencies, perhaps, right? So one could be the strength of your application may not be the best. You may not have step three ready, or you did not prepare well for your interviews, perhaps, right? So could be some example that you can mention. You could say, all right, so I had limited US clinical experience, and I believe that I had fewer months of clinical experience in the US than possibly most of my peers. And definitely I noticed that. Although I did not think that made me a much less of a candidate. However, I realized that deficiency, and now I have a significant enhancement in my US clinical experience. Of course, that has broadened my understanding of the US healthcare system as well as made me more proficient. Yet I believe that this was a possible reason for myself not doing that well, and possibly that also led me not to have too many interviews last season. However, I'm much more confident in the amount of interviews I have received thus far. Similar to last year, I will be putting my best foot forward, and I hope for a much positive result this time around. So let's say, for example, if your interview preparation was not that great, well, I did definitely look to evaluate what were my deficiencies. I had a look at my CV again. I asked my mentors. I had decent results. Sorry, I had decent test results. I had research under my belt. I had US clinical experience, but I did pinpoint that my interview preparation was not as good as I wanted it to be. And I did not practice as much. I did not do many mock interviews. And I felt that might have been what probably did not help me out last time around. However, as hopefully you are noticing that I think I have prepared well this year and I've overcome any and such deficiencies. And not to find an excuse, but last time around during the interview season, I definitely had some preoccupations and which did distract my mind a little bit, although I don't want to make that as an excuse. Yet I realized that I definitely had to work a bit more on my interviews, and I am confident I can communicate uh, much stronger now in my interviews. Hopefully, that is resonating with this current interview right now. All right, so anybody wants to give it a try? Why? If there's a person here who is on their second match, you can go ahead first. If not, then no big deal. Anybody here on their second match? If not, then that's okay. Um, Anybody who's watching this video later on, the recording, they may think about this answer. All right. So, what were we doing next? Who would you be if you were not a doctor, right? Who would you be if you were not a doctor? So, um, the idea behind this would be not the idea, but the answer would be if something you really had thought about if you were not going to be a doctor, then mention that. That's perfectly fine. If you wanted to be a music composer and you were really going to be a music composer, then mention that, right? If you're going to be an artist, for example, anything else, and you because then you can talk about it, you can talk about it eloquently. Yes, I actually still do that as a hobby on the side, right? I probably would have made a reasonable career out of that. And especially all the time that I spent in medicine, I think I would have been somewhere by now, right? So, yeah, if there was something that you were very interested in along with medicine, then you will definitely mention that. Okay. Um, if not, really, well, you could say, well, I was pretty confident that I would get into medical school and I would do well later on in life as well. So I don't think I had a plan B. I think I didn't have a plan B and I was 100% focused. And yeah, I cannot really come to think of anything significant that I would have been involved with if I were not a doctor. You can be confident, you can say that. Whatever you say, you have to back it up. You have to talk about it confidently, whatever you want to say. Or you could say, well, I have always, since little, thought that I could be a great teacher. I love teaching, whether it is to medical students or pre-med students. I love teaching. And if I were not a doctor, I do believe I would have been let's say, a high school teacher. And I love to break down complex ideas into simple steps, and I love watching on the faces of my students or the people that I mentor that, oh, I get it now. I get it. I understand. And, and that's also that I believe is one of the main reasons I do believe that I would have been a great teacher and I would have done very well, although teachers don't make uh, salary teachers don't make much money, but I had plans of breaking out into teaching online as well, and that would have brought me much more income than a regular teaching job. But yes, if I were not a doctor, I think I would definitely have been in education, right? Or let's say, for example, you want to talk about an associated career other than just other than medicine or into just the medical surgical field. You could say, well, I did have a knack for IT and computer sciences, and I would have probably launched a health tech startup or at least been part of a team working on a healthcare related tool. And I do believe that I have problem solving skills, and I would have possibly used that in line to help clinicians and patients. I think that would definitely have been an alternate career path for myself if I did not get into medicine or succeed in getting into a medical school. I would definitely have been an IT developer and most likely for healthcare products. Okay. So you try to bring in some strong point about yourself that yeah, you're good at teaching or you're good at solving problems, right? All right, anybody want to give it a try? If you were not a doctor, what would you be?
Oh, can I give it a try?
Sure.
Sure. Thank you. Um, so growing up, ever since I was a kid, when I had my tonsils removed around the age of 9, I wanted to be a doctor. But towards the end of high school, I kind of grew to realize that I was better at math and physics and really enjoyed both subjects. So I was considering mechanical engineering as a future career, particularly robotics. So I think I would have gone for that if I hadn't done medicine. Um, and I still maintain my interest in those subjects. And I've taken up coding now because it's very similar, but it's something I can do at home. So that's something I'm looking to work on in some spare time that I have because I think AI is going to play a big role. It is playing a big role in medicine. So that's just an interest I'm pursuing on the side right now.
Well, what do you like to code?
Uh, Python is the language I'm most proficient in. I know a bit of R as well, but right now you could say I've done a bit of machine learning and a bit of deep learning as well, like making neural networks. So it's been a while. I've been out of it for a few months. I'm just catching up on that again now that I have some free time.
All right, very good. Okay. Yeah, that's what's in the future. All right, good. Anyone else? What would you be doing if you were not a doctor?
Can I try?
Sure.
Thank you for asking me this question. Um, so if I wouldn't be a doctor, I was pretty sure I would be a journalist or a lawyer, because this is something I really enjoy. Um, so I can speak as much as I want. I love to interview people, getting to know about their lives and how they're learning, what they learned from their life. Um, so uh, so I like to study about people, their lives, and then their learnings, their experiences, and helping others. Being a journalist, I like evidence-based statements and truth, um, speaking on the front with no fears. And this is what I enjoy the most. That's why if I won't be here, I would be either a lawyer or a journalist. This is what I think.
All right, okay. Um, Yeah, that's fine. I would maybe just tone it down a little bit, that you just like to talk too much. I don't know.
Yes, yes. Okay.
Um, yeah, but I understand what you're saying. I think your thought process was correct, but just you just spoke a little bit extra. That's basically it.
Can you precise it, if
So
possible?
yeah, so well, definitely, I think being a doctor is what I always wanted to do. However, if I was not a doctor, I would probably be a lawyer or a teacher. You mentioned teacher, right? Lawyer and teacher, or journalist?
Journalist.
Journalist and a teacher. So a journalist and a lawyer. I do feel that I've always had the knack of communication and communication in an effective manner. And I think both being a journalist as well as a lawyer, you need to be a very effective communicator to get your point across and to be able to summarize a scenario or to just be reasonable in your speech. And I do believe that I do have a bit of that. And yes, I would probably have been either a journalist or a lawyer. Yes, that is probably what would have happened. But here, I'm here in medicine and I think I'm pretty good. Hopefully, I should be able to shine in medicine, definitely. Thank you. Something like that, similar. Okay.
Thank you.
All right. Anybody else? I think I got to pinpoint people. Okay, let's see. Salman Shafiq.
Can I? Okay.
Let's see if Salman, if not, then we'll have Mahin.
Hello, yes, I can answer that.
Okay, sure, go ahead.
So I realized that growing up, I've always wanted to be a doctor, and I did all my hard work towards the field of medicine and getting into my medical school. But during my college, I suddenly had a moment where we started renovation of our house, and I realized that I really liked interior designing. And if I had not been in medical school, I would have preferred to go in that field as well. And I believe that I had the aesthetic sense and matching the decor and stuff of the renovating the houses. And because I believe that I make a good image in my brain of how things would look after doing anything. So and also realized that I would like spending my time in those shops and look for decor items and things that would make our house look prettier. But here I am, and now I'm hoping to shine in medicine and giving my best here in medicine. Thank you so much.
All right, Mahin.
Thank you very much. So, coming from a family who has strong roots in medicine, I've always wanted to be a doctor. But if I were not a doctor, I would definitely be a Michelin star chef with my own restaurant. I cooking has always felt like a therapy to me, and I can be as creative as I can and express myself without needing any words. I I especially love cooking for my loved ones, and there is this saying that the way to someone's heart is through their stomach. So I feel like cooking is a way to connect people, provide comfort, and building trust. So I think that's, yeah, I'll be definitely a Michelin star chef with my own restaurant.
All right, very good. So yeah, so if you definitely had something else in mind or something that you were really good at that you could have possibly converted that into a full-blown career, then yes. So you could be into interior designer, a Michelin five-star restaurant, right? But those people are very, very um, they like work their asses off, and most people throw away their Michelin star because they say we can't deal with this anymore. But that's good. Yes, you could definitely say that. Anyone else? Okay. Azim Saeed. Dr. Azim Saeed. Are you there? Let's try Mr. Rian Khalid.
Thank you very much. If I were not a doctor, I would follow my father's footsteps and become a farmer. because when I was a little kid, I used to visit my village, and there I would see how they work hard and harvest crops at the end. And I love to take care of little plants and watch them grow into strong trees. So if I was not a doctor, I would be a farmer.
You can say, and my father is still upset a bit that I haven't
No,
joined and helped out with the farm.
I said I would follow my father's footsteps and become a farmer.
Right. No, I was just
But
saying you can add a joke in there.
uh-huh. Yeah, maybe I can add that.
All right, good, good. Okay, Asma Mahmood.
Thank you so much for this question. This is interesting because I have thought about what I would be if I wasn't a doctor. Throughout my life, that's something that I've worked on. Uh, I've only wanted to become a doctor, but for the past couple of years, I have been thinking about going into personal training. I love exercising, and I am very passionate about improving the health and improving. Actually, this is I have a very directed approach towards fitness. It basically started with uh, how diabetes can be reversed if we start working on strength, because the more muscle mass you have, the less resistance you'll have for insulin. So again, it is very medical related reason, but I still would like to go into the fitness journey to make sure people around me have better health.
Right. Okay. Well, yeah. Let me just maybe possibly concise it for you. Well, definitely
Okay.
medicine has always been my first love, and I do see very little else that I would be doing. However, in line with medicine, I've always been a health enthusiast, and I believe that what you eat is who you are, as well as what you do and what you move is who you are as well. And due to the sedentary lifestyle, people all over the world have had early diseases such as heart disease and diabetes. And I believe fully well that nature is thy medicine. And I would have looked to use exercise and promote a healthy diet. And I would be some type of a um, health coach to guide people towards better health through diet and lifestyle modifications. Okay.
All right. How do you do that?
How do
How do
you-
you like phrase it in such a like beautiful? I've tried that, but I don't know if it's practice or it's just, something you're born with.
I don't know. I mean, just think about, just frame it in your, just frame it proper. Just frame it.
All
You
right.
you just and think about, don't rush into the answer. You could do it slowly.
All right. Yeah,
Don't
that makes
rush
sense.
into
Thank
it.
you.
Just because in the interview, just try to relax. Take a deep breath. You don't have to jump into any answer. Take a deep breath. Whatever you need to do, just take it easy and take it slow. Doesn't matter. Just think about it, right? All right. Anyone else? Last person, possibly. Who wants to go? Who wants to? This, yes, you want to go? No, maybe not. So, but basically, every atypical, any type of question, the the philosophy behind it is to be confident and be positive. So you could probably answer any question if you're confident and if you're positive. So I think that's probably the takeaway. And yeah, anybody wants to give it a try, or we're good for now?
Dr. Han, I have a question.
Sure.
I recently came across a question that threw me a little bit off guard. Um, what do you think would be some of your biases? I don't know how to answer that question.
So
what do you think would be some of your biases, like, bias
so what do
in healthcare setting?
you, hmm?
The,
Well, I mean, that's a good question. And so you have to be careful that you don't mention a bias that um is really bad. I think that something could be a red flag.
yeah, so what would you mention? Like
Let's
if
say,
somebody asked me,
yeah, you could say, let's say, for example, I mean, let's bring out some common biases, right? So when I was
mm-hmm,
in medical school, I thought that people from villages were not up to the mark or smart as compared to people coming from possibly more educated backgrounds, perhaps, or from big city centers. As back in Pakistan, we had definitely had sort of a distinction between city dwellers and people from villages. However, I had to quickly get rid of that bias because I realized it's not where you come from, it's what who you are and your ability that is innate, and how you are able to present yourself and how you are able to apply yourself. So that definitely was a bias that I had to overcome really quickly. And I've since then grown to be much more accommodating and a less presumptuous individual. Okay. Um, any other bias you can think of? Um, what else you think could be?
Can I add something into it? Isn't the topic related to the biases that we have studied in the biostatistics, um, lead time bias or something like that?
No, no, no.
No,
I think this is more of a
um,
behavioral question.
behavioral question. Yes.
Yeah. So let's say, for example, you could say I had a similar bias because I thought that people who spoke English better were probably smarter. But actually, no. People I've had colleagues who I thought or who initially give the impression that they may not be as smart because they could not speak English that fluently. Yet I found out during examinations as well as demonstrations and through different experiences that that's not the case. They may not have had such an upbringing as myself, that I had a much stronger hold over the English language. So that was another bias that I had to come over.
I came up with something. I don't know if it's okay to say or not.
Depends on
Uh,
you. It's all HIPAA. You allow it, it's fine. Otherwise, not.
Okay, so I was always biased with this notion that U.S. Medical graduates have it easy than international medical graduates. But when I talked to some of the people here, I got to know that it's really hard to get into the medical system here and continue your journey. So I think more or less they all have this the difficulties in their journey, but blah blah blah. You get the idea.
Oh, say it properly. No, no, you have to now say it properly. What is this?
So yeah, I got to know that everybody has their own difficulties and hurdles in life.
Say it from the
But at the
start.
end of the day,
Say it from the start.
okay.
The answer and just, yeah, take your time.
Right. So biases, I think, come from presumptions and situations like you have something in your mind. So I think I had a particularly strong bias towards this notion that U.S. medical graduate have it easy, matching into the system, rather than international medical graduates. Um, but when I talked to one of the guy here who was U.S. Medical graduate, I came to know that's not true actually. They had a really hard time getting into the medical school and continued their journey throughout the 4 years here. It is a very expensive thing, and also it's really hard and competitive. We also have our own issues and own struggles, but at the end of the day, I think both of the candidates have their own battles to fight, and they may. So the bottom line is they all made it. So I think I'm now not under this idea that they have it easy, but I think we all worked really hard to get it here, to get here.
Now I'm not under the impression that they have it easy, and I
Mm-hmm.
realize that everyone has their own battles.
Mm-hmm.
And yes, okay. Yeah, that's a good question. Anything else? Any other behavioral type question in mind coming up?
Not behavioral type. Can I ask the questions apart from the behavioral side?
Sure.
So, I don't know. I read this question. If I would be a superhero, what would I be? And then, I mean, tell me a joke. So I was like, I don't know how to crack a joke. I'm very bad at it. So,
Depends on what type of joke they want. So I don't know. I mean, yeah, I think most of us we probably knew a lot more jokes when we were in high school or before that. After that, it's difficult to joke around much. So but yeah, I mean, you could come up with jokes. You probably remember jokes from your childhood, right? No? I mean,
maybe so. Yes.
right? You could probably think about lots of jokes. I mean, now come to think of it, I can probably think about a few jokes.
And what's the best answer of the superhero thing? I never thought
How
about
do you
it.
think? No, how do you think you will answer that?
It was honestly, so no answer came up to my mind, honestly
Let's
speaking.
say superhero. You probably has to be a superhero that people know about. Let's say Superman or Spider-Man. What does Spider-Man do? Spider-Man is a responsible individual. Spider-Man helps out the vulnerable. Spider-Man, though may be weak presumptively, but he uses whatever strengths he has for the common good. Okay, so you could talk about Superman, right? I mean, just they're just looking for your thing to think about, the way you think. Because in medicine they say, okay, so a lot of it is altruism. So you generally have to go out of your way. Your job description is one thing, and then you have to do a lot more than what your job description actually is. So you have to
True.
go out of your way to help people out. So I think that's probably what they're looking for. What type? Oh, you want to be the Hulk? I want to destroy everything, and I want to create havoc. Yeah, that's my superhero. So, you could say that, or you what else? Who? Yeah. So or super villain, right? So it's just about the mindset. I think these questions and this practice is just about getting the mindset right, the positive mindset. And I mean, not be boastful and just be calculated and stable minded, but still be positive at the same time, right? All right, I think we're good.
Thank you.
All right, until the next session. All right. Okay, thank you.
Thank you very much.